Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome today to our MSc Pre-Registration Occupational Therapy webinar. We're delighted to have you join us today. Today we're joined by Laura Hall, the programme leads, by Rowena Harrison, who's the Year 1 coordinator, and by a couple of our current students. So we have Emma here and Rebecca will be joining us shortly, just to answer any of the queries or questions that you have prior to starting with us in January. Just a note to mention that this webinar will be recorded. We'll be using it to send it out to anyone who cannot make it, but also for all of you who are currently here. It's just good that you're able to kind of revisit some of the topics that are covered. So I'll hand over now to Rowena and she will give you a short presentation, but please feel free to ask any questions you have throughout in the box to the right-hand side. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Hannah. Just check the slides are visible there. Laura, can you just confirm that for me? Thank you. Yep, welcome and thank you for joining us today for this webinar. As Hannah said, my name is Ro Harrison and I am the Year 1 coordinator for our Masters Pre-Registration Occupational Therapy programme here at Glasgow Caledonian University. I'm also one of the lecturers on both the Masters and BSc programmes here. So as on the programme, we have our overall programme leader, Laura, who Hannah has just introduced you to. So that's Laura waving there. And she oversees the programme. And then we have two coordinators, one for each year of the Masters, as an additional contact throughout the programme as well. So I'm that person for the first year. And as you can see, we're also joined by Emma, one of our students. And we do have another student, Rebecca, who will be coming along shortly as well. Is there anything you want to add, Laura, before I get started?
No, I think that's perfect, Ro. Thank you.
Okay. So, yes, welcome to the session today, wherever you are joining us from. I'm aware there might be a bit of a mix joining us today, so there may be some people who have already accepted an offer to come and join us in January, who might just be looking for a bit more information in advance of that, and also some people who might still be making decisions about whether GCU is right for them. And regardless of which position you might find yourself in today, we hope this session will be helpful and informative for you. So today is really just an opportunity to meet myself and Laura, have a chance to ask some questions from us and students, and to provide you with a wee bit of an overview of what Year 1 might look like on the Masters for you. So that initial stage of the programme that you'll be engaging in. As Hannah said, we do welcome any questions you have, so you can pop these into the chat box as we go along, and we'll do our best to answer these at the end for you. And that's for both us and questions for the students as well. So I just thought I would start with a little bit about who I am. Because I will be one of your key contacts during that first year, it will give you a wee bit of an idea of at least one person that you will be working with. So I am an occupational therapist and I'm actually a graduate of the GCU Masters Pre-Registration programme myself, as is Laura, who I can see nodding there. We both had a really positive experience studying occupational therapy at GCU, so much so we came back to work here. So hopefully that already gives you a wee bit of a kind of positive sense of the experience of the student journey and the Masters programme here, the fact that we actually chose to come back to work here. At the top there, you can see an image of our Glasgow campus with a nice blue sky in the background. Admittedly, it is a little greyer today. After completing the programme, I worked in a couple of different areas. The first was mainly with older adults within some hospital settings. So this included kind of shorter term rehabilitation. And the middle picture is a fairly good representation of the kind of ward settings I found myself working in. And I also worked within a kind of more acute, faster paced hospital setting as well in another part of the city. And I also spent time working in the community in a much more mental health orientated role, which involved visiting people at home and working with them in their own homes, as well as within other areas of the community. So kind of meeting people in health centres and different community hubs, doing some individual work and working with groups of clients as well. The picture on the right of the screen there is just a bit of a kind of idea of the sort of residential settings I found myself working in during my time working in the community. And this role, which was actually within a community addiction team, was the role I was in prior to starting my lecturing position at GCU, which I started now a few years ago. So that is just a wee bit about me and my background, just to get us started. So moving on to my role as the Year 1 coordinator on the programme. So this role is about supporting Laura as the Masters Programme Leader in supporting students through the process of joining us here on the programme and through that induction process, and really being that kind of key point of contact during that first year on the programme. It's important that you know that support is available here on the programme, and it is helpful to have that kind of key contact person that you know you can get in touch with on the programme team to offer support and provide signposting, etc. as needed as well. So my role is also about making sure that the first year goes as smoothly as possible for you, kind of guiding you through, communicating what's going to be happening, and really what to expect with what's coming up for you. Another part of the role is about arranging and coordinating support sessions for you that might be relevant as you go through that first year of the programme. So that might be from our library team. So that might be about how to get the best use of our library, how to access literature and how to use maybe different library systems. Or it might be arranging support from our excellent Learning Development Centre who support with the development of different academic skills, which can be particularly useful if you're making a step up to master's level study for the first time. But equally, if you've studied at master's level before, it can still help develop some of those skills. The support we look to arrange very much kind of depends on and is in response to the students we have at that particular point in time and the particular needs that are arising. So we can tailor some of those sessions we're organising to what's needed and also what we think students would benefit from at that time as well. So part of my role is also about making sure you have some of the key information before you start the programme. It can be quite a big step deciding to start on a master's programme, particularly if, as I say, you're kind of moving up to that master's level from undergraduate, or you've perhaps been in employment for quite a long time and you've maybe not been in education recently. And so having some information in advance just can be really useful. We are also going to be preparing you to become health professionals who will be registered. And so it's important that there are certain things we can say we can check off as having been done as part of that. So some of the information you'll receive will come from the university more centrally to look out for, and some of it will come more directly from us as an occupational therapy team. Some of the things that will be organised more centrally and communicated to you from a university point will be things like timetabling, the organisation of your health screening. For international students, it might be kind of information about your visas, so that will be organised more centrally as well. For all students, information about your registration and about your uniforms for placement will also be communicated to you from kind of a more central point in the university, so not specifically from us. So these things should start coming out to you before the start of the programme about how you go around accessing some of these things. So if you will be joining us in January, you will receive different communications on the run up to starting the programme. So please do keep a lookout for these in your emails. Some of the things that are organised and communicated more from the occupational therapy team include information on joining the Membership of Protection of Vulnerable Groups, so the PVG scheme. So this is a bit kind of like a police check, and this is one of the requirements before you can go out on placement. We require this to be done, and we will communicate with you about that. We'll also provide information on things like fitness to practice and what this is, because this is an important aspect of being a health and social care professional. And we will also communicate about induction week to our offer holders in advance as well. So induction week is the kind of first point of contact you will have mainly with Laura and myself in induction week. And for the incoming cohort, this runs from the 20th to the 24th of January, which really isn't very far away. So as I mentioned, I will be emailing out some information in advance of induction week to offer holders some information to help with your preparations for starting the programme. But this is the week that induction week will take place, so starting the 20th of January. This first week is really about welcoming you and introducing you to GCU. So we may have students who have previously been at other institutions. There will be students from a variety of different educational experiences and backgrounds, and those that may be joining us internationally as well. So it's really a chance to kind of welcome everybody together as students of GCU and as a new cohort. So it's therefore an opportunity to start meeting other people in your cohort, start getting to know each other a wee bit, start getting to know some of the key members of your staff team, and also a chance for us to start getting to know you as well. We will also be outlining some of the expectations of studying at master's level, particularly, as I say, if this is a kind of step up for you, if you've come from doing undergraduate programme. But it's also about helping you to prepare for starting on the occupational therapy programme kind of more specifically as well, which will include highlighting some of the key information that you need to know, some of the standards and policies that are relevant to studying here with us. Throughout the first trimester that you join us, there is also going to be a bit of a longitudinal induction as well. So this is some extra support sessions that Laura and myself will organise spaced out through the first trimester to help offer some of that additional support to help you settle in to the programme, which we hope you'll find beneficial. So we thought it'd be useful to provide you with a wee bit of an overview of what year one on the programme will look like for you. So our academic year is divided into 3 trimesters. So you might be more familiar with the words semester or terms from other institutions, but at GCU you will hear the word trimesters used. Our academic year has just recently started in September, and so that's called trimester A. Trimester B is the one that starts in January, which will therefore be your first trimester, and trimester C is that summer period of kind of between May and August. So in January 2025, if you're joining us, you'll be starting in trimester B, and you'll be undertaking 3 academic modules with us. So these are very much introducing you to some of the kind of foundational and core knowledge and skills that are required to practice as an occupational therapist. And it's knowledge and skills that you will then continue to build on through the remainder of the programme. So the first one that's there, essential practice skills for occupation-focused practice. This introduces some of the key practical skills that you need as an occupational therapist, and also introduces and can develop your understanding of the processes that we as occupational therapists need to engage in and work through when working with our clients. So it's a module where you can very much develop your knowledge and understanding of some kind of theory and processes, but also those practical skills as well. So you're getting that straight from the off. Another module in this first trimester is Foundations of Occupational Therapy and Occupational Science. And this introduces you to some of the key theoretical underpinnings of our profession. So it's getting us to think about how people engage in occupation, why and what that looks like. So some really foundational theory is introduced within this module. And then finally, we have the module Occupational Performance, Body Structure, Function and Participation. So this module includes some anatomy and physiology teaching, and it also looks at some different health conditions as well, and considers what occupational therapists need to think about when working with service users with different health conditions, how these might impact and be impacted by occupation. We understand that some students may join the programme with some knowledge of anatomy and physiology already, depending on their previous either academic or kind of work background and experience. But equally, we know there are people who won't have previous knowledge of anatomy and physiology. This module is designed to bring everyone in the cohort to a level that's required for working as an occupational therapist. So if you haven't previously studied this, please don't worry or let it put you off. The module is very much designed to build this knowledge as you go through it. So that first trimester is really about developing some of those foundational core knowledge and skills that you will continue to build on as you go through. You then move into your second trimester, which is trimester C, and this is where you go out on your first placement. So it is practice-based learning 1. This is a full-time placement and is the first of 4 that you will complete on the programme. I'll talk a wee bit about kind of placements just shortly, but this first placement is an opportunity to go out and start applying some of that core knowledge and skills that you've been developing within an occupational therapy setting, within an area of health and social care. After the summer, in your final trimester of first year, you have 2 academic modules and you also have your second placement as well. So the first of the 2 academic modules you'll study in trimester A is evidence-informed occupational transformation. Within this module, you will be introduced to some further theory, as well as build on what you've already learned. And it will help you start to understand why we do what we do with different clients. So you start developing your professional reasoning. So it's about how you think and make decisions as an occupational therapist, and how this then makes a difference in your clients' lives. So this module is about drawing on theory to inform our work and how we can transform people's lives through the use of occupation. The other academic module you'll be undertaking in trimester A is an interprofessional one. So it's called Interprofessional Working, Context, Organisations and Practice. And you'll be studying with and alongside master's students from other programmes. So for example, other allied health professionals such as physiotherapy students and social work as well, for example. So it's an opportunity to learn with and from students studying other professions. Within this module, you'll develop some kind of key knowledge and understanding about working in health and social care. And it's things you would be learning as part of the programme anyway, but it gives you the opportunity to do this whilst learning with others from other professions. So helping develop that interprofessional working and learning about other people's roles, which can actually also help develop your own understanding of your own role within occupational therapy as well. So it's a useful module for starting to get you thinking about how you'll work in interprofessional teams, which you will be doing in practice. And then finally in this trimester, you have your practice-based learning 2. So this is your second placement module, which will be 3 days a week. And similarly to your first placement, you will be out with an occupational therapist in an occupational therapy setting. But the setting will be different to your first placement. And then that takes us to the end of your first year of the programme. And you would move into second year, so you'll then go on to do another few academic modules, another couple of placements and your dissertation. But today's really more about giving you an overview of that first year of the programme in the first instance, just to give you a wee bit of a sense about the experience you might have during that first year here. So hopefully that has sparked some interest in what is to come.
Ro, before you move on, I wonder if I can just jump in, because there's been a couple of questions kind of specific to what you've got in the slides there, and I thought it might be easier to answer them before we move on. So thanks for posting your questions in the chat. Do keep them coming. We'll kind of answer them as and when it feels appropriate time. So first one was to do with sort of trimester C, and yeah, for this programme, like Rose outlined, we do use all 3 trimesters on this programme. And the summer trimester, the trimester C time, is usually a full-time placement. For occupational therapy programmes in Scotland, these are not paid placements. This is part of your studying. So you would be out kind of working in a placement site, but you wouldn't be receiving any payment for that, as is kind of standard across Scotland for these types of placements. So hopefully that helps with that bit. And the other one was just around the kind of how the modules within a trimester sit. So like for that very first trimester where you've got 3 modules, they are all running at the same time. So for example, you might have classes for one of them on a Tuesday and the other one might sit on a Friday, for example. So they will be kind of running alongside each other, and you will be working on assessments for each one that'll all be due in at the kind of May period at the end of that trimester. So hopefully that kind of just answers those questions there, but do pop anything else in the chat if you need anything explained further. But yeah, Ro, I will hand back to you to carry on.
Okay, thanks, Laura. Okay, so I just wanted to talk a wee bit more just about placement. So it's what we tend to call practice-based learning here at GCU, but you might hear both terms. We know that students are often keen to hear about this and the opportunities available, so we just thought we would mention it here in case anybody's interested. We do have quite a range of practice-based learning opportunities here at GCU, and this includes opportunities from across Scotland, so some really quite picturesque areas of Scotland, and some really fantastic opportunities from various places. So we do have some kind of good placement opportunities kind of down near the borders, and also some up in the Highlands and Islands. And we do receive some really positive feedback about these opportunities and experiences. So on the programme, there are placements that might be kind of more urban. So you might find yourself in a more city area. You might find yourself a bit more rural. We have opportunities that can be kind of across hospitals, within community settings, and with a variety of different client groups right across the lifespan. Because as occupational therapists, we can work right across that lifespan. 3 of our placements are what could be considered kind of traditional placements. So you're out with an occupational therapist in what's usually a fairly established occupational therapy setting. So, for example, your first 2 placements, so those ones in first year, and also your final placement on the programme as well. But we do also have a role emerging placement, which is in your second year. But that's where you're generally out with kind of more third sector organisations. So, for example, kind of charity organisations where there isn't an established occupational therapy service. And that is also a really exciting opportunity. If you are coming to join us, it's something to look forward to. So all of our placements offer an opportunity for you to continue to develop your knowledge and skills and apply those in a real world setting. So really taking what you're learning here and putting that into a real world setting. And as part of the programme, you will receive a mix of practice-based learning opportunities, so kind of different settings, different client groups, different ways of working, to offer you that variety of experience. And I've included just a few images here just to represent some of the types of practice-based learning experience that can be on offer. So, for example, it might be in kind of rehabilitation, for example. So it might be a kind of more hospital or physical neurological type setting. Another placement, you might be in quite a fast-paced hospital setting. You may find yourself in a slower-paced community setting where you might be working with people in their own homes, potentially over a kind of longer period of time. And you can see somebody in the right-hand side there cooking in their kitchen. So this might be an occupation that you're supporting someone to develop skills in, for example, in perhaps a community-type placement. You might have an opportunity within paediatrics, which could be within a healthcare setting or third sector or a school, for example, which again would offer a different type of experience and way of working. Some placements might be primarily working with people on a one-to-one basis. Others might be working more with groups or communities potentially. And the bottom left image there is actually one of our previous students on their role emerging placement. And there is a short video available of that on the GCU Occupational Therapy webpage if you would like to watch that and hear about that experience. There may also be the opportunity for some project placements, so developing some other key skills on those types of placements as well, which might serve you well in future practice, for example, doing service development. So there are a range of opportunities both within health and social care settings and in kind of third sector organisations as well. So previously we have had students getting in touch prior to the programme asking what books might be useful or if they need to buy any books. So we've just added this for your information in case you're somebody who likes to be incredibly organised and may have already thought about this. So this is just an example of some suggested books. There are no textbooks that you absolutely have to buy for this programme. And it's because we draw on a range of sources and books across different areas of occupational therapy and occupational science. So these are just some recommendations, just a bit of guidance for anyone who perhaps wants to look at anything. These are all available from our library service, either as hard copies or ebooks. And if they are an ebook, we've indicated that just in that right-hand column there for you. So we may draw on some of these books and others across the 2 years of the programme. you are welcome to take a screenshot of this if you like. I will also be sending out the list of kind of suggested books when I email offer holders in advance of the programme starting as well. But I will just pause for a moment in case anybody does want to just screenshot that. But again, you do not need to purchase any of these if you don't want to. They are available through our library service. Okay. So that's really all the information I wanted to share with you today. I have included my email address here if anyone has any particular questions after the webinar. So once you've maybe had a chance to think about what you've heard, particularly in relation to year one, you can kind of email me and I'll kind of get back to you. For more general inquiries, these can be directed to the mailbox. And I think Laura has the email address for that she's going to pop into the chat for us as well. So I'd like to open up to questions. We do now also we've got Emma. I'm not sure whether Rebecca's with us yet, who are also happy to answer questions from a student perspective. So are there any other... Oh,
thank you.
Hi, Rebecca.
Hi, we were just saying, we're just moving on to whether there's any questions. That's perfect timing.
Yeah, so if there are any in the chat, Laura.
So I think at the moment we've actually answered what was in the chat in terms of questions. So I wonder maybe while we give people a time to think if there's any particular they want to ask, whether we just kind of pose the question to our students, because I think it's always good to hear a bit about the student experience. So let you guys decide who's going to go first, but I appreciate, Rebecca, you've literally just joined us. So Emma, I might suggest that you go first, if that's all right. I guess we're just kind of thinking what might be useful for people to hear about. But I know, Emma, you moved to Scotland to start the programme. So I guess just if there's anything about kind of your experience or that, or any advice you could give to anybody who's relocating to Scotland, perhaps to start the programme.
Yeah, so I'm glad to be a part of this. I'm really happy to share my experience. And in general, it's been a very beautiful journey. I'm in my final trimester, so yeah, it's been great. It's been awesome. Lots of learning and unlearning. Moving because I came from Nigeria, it was quite a long journey, and I really felt supported even before leaving the borders of my country. I remember I couldn't even make it in time because I came like 1 week late, but I was communicating with Laura, and it really made me feel at ease. I know sometimes there can be hiccups with visas, processing and things depending on your country and situation of things. But once you're in communication with the school, trust me, they'll give you all the necessary information and steps you can take and let you know what next you should do in general. So yeah, that was really amazing. And moving here, adapting to everything different, the weather, the people. It's another phase of this whole journey as well, but the people in Scotland, Glasgow in precise, very hospitable, always willing to help. I was just always making sure I always ask questions. I didn't feel like intimidated or anything. Once you ask, definitely you'll find your way around things. And the people in GCU school as well, the staff, the students as well, very lovely. And there's like a diverse of people from different places. So everybody's willing to share things with one another. It's really great in general. Yeah.
Fab, thanks, Emma. That's really nice to hear. Yeah, that's right. We were in touch before you moved. I'd forgotten about that actually, but yeah, yeah, great. And Rebecca, obviously, slightly different experience for you, but I don't know if there's anything you'd like to share about just kind of your experience of starting the programme or any tips that you might have for people about to start this process.
Yeah, like I've really loved my time at GCU. Like the course has been like overall, it's like really interesting. I feel like I've learned so much in a short space of time. My placements have been really good as well. So I've, like as Ro was saying, you get like a mix of placement. So I had like general medical ward, working in paediatrics, working with children with autism, in addiction services, and in a small community hospital up in Aviemore in the Highlands. So I would go paddleboarding after my work. It was great, yeah. So amazing. Like it's really, you get a really good variety of experiences. And yeah, really enjoyed my placement. And the campus is really nice as well. I've enjoyed just meeting other students, like of all ages. Like some of our students are parents from lots of different countries and backgrounds. So like from Scotland, Nigeria, Hong Kong, Canada, Ireland. So it's been really nice, like forming friendships and yeah, sharing the experiences together. But yeah, I'd just say like, I don't know if like tips would just be like not to put too much pressure on yourself, especially in that first semester. Like if you're not getting the grades you hoped for, or if you're like struggling with the academic work, like don't worry. Like I suppose like so many of us have been out of higher education for years. Like for me, it was 5 years. And we had some students on our course who've been out of higher education for like over a decade and a half. So I know like how tough it is coming back into this environment, like especially at master's level. But yeah, just give yourself like that grace period to adjust back into student life and be kind to yourself, because it is a hard transition. But don't be afraid to reach out to the lecturers or like your personal tutors if you're struggling, because they will be there to support you. And I really can't fault like the lecturers like that I have reached out to. They've always been really great at responding and giving the support that I needed. So they really helped with the transition into masters. That's it.
Lovely, thank you. It's nice to hear, and that's great. And I suppose, like with that, I mean, yeah, you know, all the lecturers or that are teaching on the programme are occupational therapists, and we've all come to this profession for a reason. So I suppose there is a kind of an interest in supporting and helping people. So yeah, it's nice to hear that comes through to you guys as well. We have had a couple of questions in the chat now, so I wonder if we have a wee look. So there's one about a student portal and whether you should have access to that now, if it'll come into play closer to your start date. And it will be closer to your start date. There are certain processes that you kind of have to filter through before you'll get access to any kind of online portal as such. You will get very familiar with that once you start, but it'll be once you've registered as a student that you can start getting access to all the kind of student IT systems. So you'll not quite be at that stage yet, but you will be getting a lot of information coming through. There'll be lots of emails of important processes you need to follow, things you need to do, deadlines for things. So, make sure you're keeping an eye on that. And as long as you follow that all along, then you should get access to the IT systems but it will be closer to the start in January before you'll actually kind of have login details for that kind of stuff. I don't know if anybody else has got anything to add to that, if you kind of, from a student point of view, if you kind of remember anything particular from being on the other side of it, but I think that would be my sense.
I think I had access to... Sorry?
No, I was just saying I can't remember.
Yeah, no, I know it's been a while
before,
2 years since you guys were in this position of preparing to start. So yeah. Emma, do you think you had access to?
No, it was until I got here. I was able to get my ID card and then register with my portal. Yeah. So
yeah, it is once you go through the actual kind of registering as a student, which is once deposits and all that have been paid and following all that through.
So our next question was one about accommodation, but I can see that Hannah has popped a link in there for some additional information about accommodation in Glasgow. So hopefully that provides some useful information for you. Thank you for posting that, Hannah.
Yeah. And I don't know, though, if either Emma or Rebecca, if you've got anything about, just kind of your experiences of finding accommodation that you can share that might be helpful for others to hear.
So for me, I'll advise that you start sorting your accommodation way before you get here. Start looking out. From the links, there are so many websites, but I got the websites through one of the school links as well. They sent some accommodation tips and things like that. So I don't know, maybe you might get it in the nearest time. So you can start applying way before. I got mine before I got here, and it was easy for me to settle in. So yeah, but if you can't if you have somewhere to stay with or someone to stay with, then you can now look for it physically as well. That can work as well. So
but yeah,
I would just say the same. Yeah, just to get started early, because it can be quite competitive, but you should be able to find something.
Great.
Thanks for that insight.
Yeah, and hopefully with the links that have been posted there, then that will give you the sort of starting point. But yeah, sounds like starting around well, yeah, pretty soon.
Sooner rather than later.
Sooner rather than later, yeah, great. And then there's a question about personal tutors. So again, I'm happy to start this one off, but I'm very happy for anybody to chip in on that. So during your time at GCU, you will be allocated a personal tutor who is one of the lecturing staff within the programme. So it'll be one of the occupational therapy lecturers. We call it personal tutors here. They can have different terms at different universities. Sometimes it's academic advisor. I had the director of studies in a previous programme that I was on. So they can have different names, but it's all a similar idea. But it's essentially an allocated person that's kind of your point of contact for support if there's anything kind of individual going on for you in terms of your studying, or if there's things going on outside of university that might be impacting on you. It's somebody you can go to talk to for advice, and just kind of, because sometimes there's lots of support and guidance and processes available through the university of what to do in different circumstances, but sometimes you need that point of contact to kind of direct you in the right point in the right direction of what might be right for you at that point in time. So you, within your first kind of week or two of being with us, you'll be made aware of who your personal tutor would be, and the aim is that stays the same throughout your time with us, obviously pending kind of staffing changes and things. We can't absolutely guarantee that, but that's what we aim, that you have the same person for the 2 years, which then means, and what these lovely ladies will be getting towards the point of, is when you reach the end of the programme, there's also somebody who's got to know you, that when it comes to kind of looking for jobs, they can help with advice, but they can also provide kind of a reference for applying for your first occupational therapy job as well. So it is somebody you build that kind of relationship with. So yeah, anybody else got anything to add?
Yeah, I suppose we can kind of help develop your kind of skills while you're here as well. So kind of, I'm talking about assessments already, but you will receive kind of feedback from your assessments and things, and we can help you decipher that and help you work out how to use that and engage with that to move forward into your other modules. So we can also help you develop while you're here as well, as all the other things Laura had mentioned. Don't know if Rebecca and Emma, do you have kind of any particular input about personal tutoring at GCU? I'm kind of putting you in the spot.
Not really,
with that
like
one.
they're all
Right.
Yeah, I feel like it's nice to have that person that you can go to about anything, really. Like you're quite often you're going to your lecturers about particular.
Oh.
Nope. We've lost Rebecca.
We've lost her. I'm sure she was going to say something incredibly insightful there as
I'm
well.
sure she was.
Well, we'll see if she's able to rejoin us. That's a shame. She's maybe just a technical issue there. Emma, did you have anything you wanted to say about that?
Yeah, it's just the same. It's personal tutor concept has been very handy and useful as well. It's very easy to communicate with them and always follow up as well, ask you how you're doing, try to check up on you from time to time. Personal issues, academic issues, like it's all round. So yeah, it's been very, very good.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Emma.
All right, I'm not seeing any more questions just now. We can maybe see if Rebecca manages to rejoin us. If you have anything you'd like to ask about anything, oh, there you are. We're back.
Welcome back.
Sorry, I don't know. I don't know what happened there.
That's all right. We've got you back. So we were saying you were about to say something very insightful, but Emma has said a little bit of her experience of personal tutoring. If you want to add anything, you can, but equally, if you think you're...
No, it's fine. It's fine.
Oh,
Thank you.
So yeah,
okay.
let's see.
We'll just give a moment to see if any other questions come through. If you do have any, please feel free to pop these into the chat for us.
What I might do in the meantime, I think we've lost her again. What I was going to say is, while we're just hanging on there, I was going to say I would really like to hear from the students kind of a particular highlight of the last almost 2 years. So I don't know, Emma, I might be putting you in the spot, but is there anything that's been a highlight that you'd like to share?
Well, there are lots of highlights for me, but I think I'll take it back to my first year, where in my first placement, we worked on this project intervention, and that's really sprung up a lot of activities, recognition, and that was majorly because all of us were able to, bring out our strengths. Most of us have skills in creative writing, designing, and things like that, projects management, and we're able to bring those skills together with occupational therapy concepts and all of that, and put that together and work on something wonderful. And from that, we were able to experience more. We went to the OT show in Birmingham. That was really great. It was all sponsored. It was really wonderful. And from that, I was able to learn that in whatever you do, try to put in your best. Don't hold back thinking, oh, I'm in the healthcare space, I don't need to bring this to this. No, just try to use all you have within you to create something beautiful, and you'll see how things will pan out. So that was really like the greatest highlight. From there, we got awards from ARCOT, the Organization for Occupational Therapy. And yeah, it's been wonderful. And the other placements as well. So lots of learning. Occupational therapy is very dynamic. There are lots of places you can actually work in, depending on where your strengths are, where your passion is. You can work with various populations, and that was really interesting to see. From there, I was able to see what I really liked as well. And yeah, it's been wonderful.
Lovely. I did wonder if that was going to have been your highlight, because
actually, I think quite rightly.
I mean, it became famous in the world of occupational therapy, for a while last year. So it's yes, I'm not too surprised that was up there in your highlights. Yeah, a video that's created that got a lot of recognition online, which was amazing, and really, it was fabulous of what you guys were able to achieve with that. So, lovely. Okay, we've had a few questions coming in, so we'll see. Is there a particular laptop you would recommend, like MacBook or Windows, for assignments or academic software? My feeling is it's probably whatever is personal preference of what you're most comfortable with. So you, through your university account, you will get access to like Microsoft Office package of Word and Excel and Teams and stuff. That will be made available to you. So I guess something that that's going to work on, but that should be fine for whichever kind of type of laptop you go for. I'm taking from your nods and facial expressions, the two of you, that you're in agreement with me that there's not a particular that's required for. I think it is just kind of
not personal preference, I think, and affordability for you.
Yeah, and I know we've got students with both Mac and sort of Windows type devices that work fine with what we need to do. I'm not aware of any issues, so I don't think there's a particular steer we need to give you on that. It's just whatever you fancy.
Not that I'm aware of.
There's a question about sort of essential ways of connecting with each other before beginning the programme. You should all have access to the UniBuddy system, which is available to applicants. So that does actually allow you to set up groups and connect with each other through that. So that is a way that you can actually you can do that. But we have tried different things in the past of kind of what works of supporting students to do that. So I suppose, like Ro was saying earlier, we often tailor what we do to each cohort. So if that's something that people that are due to join in January kind of would find useful, it's something that we can look into creating something. But yeah, I believe that the UniBuddy platform does allow you to form your own groups of, around particular themes. So people that are maybe moving to Scotland or people that are coming for the MSc in occupational therapy, you can kind of create and join groups and connect with each other through that. So that might be something for those of you that are here to look into and to try and explore.
Yeah.
And then there's a question there about, so there's a question about specifically accommodation at Cali Court, but Hannah's responded best to contact them directly about availability. So I wonder, again, I don't know if you're maybe just looking more to connect with somebody that might be living there, but again, maybe the UniBuddy platform might be a good way of doing that, is going on and seeing if you can find people that are going to be moving in there in January. If you're looking to kind of just have a somebody that you can link in with, that should be possible through that. I believe, Hannah, I know you're in the background, but I think I'm right on what I'm saying about the UniBuddy platform. So hopefully that's something that you can all use.
Yes, sorry, just to jump in, Laura. Yes, so we do have a platform called UniBuddy Communities that is available for any prospective students. So you should all have access to that or been contacted about that. I'm just about to put a link in the chat as well to the Ask a Student pages on our website, which will give you access to current students on the occupational therapy programme that are signed up to the UniBuddy platform. So what you can do is you can actually ask them direct questions, and it acts a wee bit like an almost WhatsApp or like something similar where it's kind of an instant chat with them. So you can ask questions before you start the course in January. So it just gives you a couple of different options for you to engage and connect before you get here. So I hope that's helpful, but I'll drop the link in for Ask a Student, because that's really useful as well. And obviously, with any questions or queries, or if you've not got links to Unibuddy communities, I'm also going to drop in the email address. It's studentinquiries@gcu.ac.uk. And if you have any queries about access to any of these platforms, please feel free just to drop us an email and we'll get you sorted with registrations and links and whatnot if you don't already have them. All right.
Perfect. Thanks, Hannah.
Thanks, Hannah.
Yeah, and for the Ask a Student page, I know that we have a few of our currents. We've got a couple in our year twos who are in the same year as Rebecca and Emma that are coming towards the end of the programme, but we do also have somebody from our year one of our programme that'll be there as well. So they'll be available to answer questions through that if there's anything. Okay, fab. Not seeing any. Oh yeah, perfect. That's just Hannah popping the link in. So I'm not seeing any more questions coming up. Is there anything else? I suppose. When does course registration begin? So it sort of depends a little bit on your particular process, but it's you will have to go through the sort of paying deposits and all of that, and then registration. It is usually kind of closer to the start date. You'll get an email through once you've kind of done all the preparatory stuff. You'll get an email through to register, but it will be possibly into January before the actual formal registration goes through. I think yes, I'm seeing nods to align with that. So yeah. I think
last year it was kind of into January for most.
Yeah, some of you might get it a wee bit sooner, but yeah, it's most likely to be into January, I think, when that will start, so that you can look out for that. But, we're here and Ro will be in touch with you in advance of that with information. So that's just the kind of formal registering process, but there'll be lots available to you before that as well. We will be keeping an eye on who we're expecting to be meeting in January.
Yeah.
So I guess, do pop if there's any more questions you've got in the chat, but I suppose just, is there anything, Rebecca or Emma, that you kind of would like to share that you've not had a chance to say yet, anything that you've thought of, or do you feel you've kind of said the main bits that you wanted to share with attendees today?
I would just say it is a great course, and I was nervous to start it as well, and coming into masters from not being in education for a long time is scary, but if you're thinking about doing it, just go for it, because it is a great course and I have no regrets. So yeah, would really recommend it.
Oh, thank you.
It's good to hear. Oh, you got that in just in time. Oh, I thought you'd left again.
Emma, anything else from you?
Yeah, for me it's just the same thing. The profession is lovely. It gives you room to explore and tap into your passion, your interests, and there are varieties of opportunities and options for you. And also just embrace the challenge. Of course, it's not a bed of roses, but at the same time, just enjoy the experience, put in your all, and organization is key as well to take the pressure off you. Once you're organized, everything will be fine. And don't be afraid to ask questions. Communicate with your classmates, always ask questions. You can never go wrong with asking. Discuss with people, it enhances your understanding, and stay in touch with your lecturers as well. They're always there to support. So yeah, that's it.
Perfect.
Great. Thanks, Emma. Okay, I'm not seeing any other questions coming through. So really just wanted to thank you for joining us today. For those of you who are going to be joining us in January, as I said, it will be myself and Laura you will mainly see in induction week. So at least you will know a couple of faces. Sometimes it is just nice to be able to put a face to a name when you first arrive. And I think we're also both teaching in modules in your first trimester as well. We will see you come through.
Yeah, absolutely.
So unless you've got anything else you want to add, Laura, I just want to, thank you for joining us. The generic mailbox is there. You have my contact details as well if there's anything kind of year one specific. I can see some comments just coming through saying thank you. Thank you for the assurances. you are very welcome, and we look forward to having those of you that are joining us join us in January. But for now, thank you for being here. Take care, and we do very much hope to see you in January.
Okay. Thanks everyone for coming, and thanks very much Rebecca and Emma for joining us.
Yes, thank you both.
Yeah, fabulous.
No problem. Good luck, everyone.
Thank you so much. Take care.
Hope to see everyone in January.
Yep. Take care, folks. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.